afraid. I'm sitting there like, man, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Ask Mathis. I'm your host, Reggie Mathis, and rocking with me is my brother Wildman Teddy T, a.k.a. Baron Theo Mound-builder.
Hello, everybody. What's going on?
Chilling, man. So last time we was here, our resident Trump supporter, in the back, came with some, with some receipts, I think he would say. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do a little research so that when I come on here today, we be able to, so, bruh, at 2:34 today, so fresh, smell it, fresh. Smell it straight from the bakery, bruh. Straight from the bakery. 23 Nobel Prize winning economists call Harris's economic plan vastly superior to Trump's. 23 signed on to this letter, including two of the three most recent recipients. Now, what they are saying, sir, is that in the new letter, which began to come together after Vice President Harris detailed her economic vision late last month, includes 7 new signatories and represents a wide cross-section in the field in terms of areas of expertise and approach to economics. The expanded group includes 2 of the 3 most recent laureates, Simon Johnson and Darren Acemoglu of MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. They received the prize along with James Robinson of the University of Chicago last week, for their research into how institutions shape which countries become wealthy and prosperous. So, sir, this tariff and tax cut economy that your boy is proposing, they are saying is going to shipwreck the American economy like Gilligan. And he says, my most favorite word in the dictionary, the most beautiful word in the dictionary is tariff. It's my favorite word. So in between going to McDonald's and showing off his ability to work the fries, he's coming out here stunting, on just these stunts and tricks that are working on a few right behind the camera. Is one of the folks that is working on, right? Now when you're not able to live anywhere and when you're not able to, continue in the military and you don't know why, it's because of the boy that you are supporting. I give you the floor.
Well, I also need, to speak to your point, I need context. You said it's 23, right?
Yeah, I'll pass this up to you. You can read it at your leisure. You can read it at...
It's exhibit 23.
You can read it at your leisure. I had court today, so I'm wired. I'm wired for this. I can exhibit
23.
That's a composite, a moving composite. Yes.
My rebuttal would be 23 out of how many?
How many does he have?
How many are there?
The Nobel laureates, 2 out of the last 3, but
see,
I'm not, you know what? I'm gonna let you, that's how we tricking and treating. That's how we tricking and treating. Got you. Okay. No, if that's how we tricking and treating, then that's what we doing.
Is that not a fair rebuttal? I need to know the context. It's 23.
It's beautiful.
Is that
beautiful?
5%
Beautiful.
Of the total?
It's what you say.
That's like saying
it's however you need it. It's however many you need it to be or not to be.
Like
they are saying that this man gonna shipwreck this nation. He's gonna shipwreck the nation, bro. But hey,
if it holds,
see, there you go. We got another convert.
Yeah, he's out.
We got another convert. We got Novocaine. So We got another convert, Novocaine. It's all good.
If it's a substantial percentage, I gotta give it weight. You know what I'm saying? But it's like if I don't know the context, it's like
you can read it. Nah, not 23. We was talking about the top economists and Nobel laureates.
Out of how many?
Out of all that you need to know.
I think 23 is
two of the last three. 2 out of the last 3. And the one that did not sign on to it did not come around and say mine is in favor of him. And I know prior to these last 7 who jumped on board, 2 of them were from the Wharton School of Business at University of Pennsylvania. And guess who claimed they went there? So he didn't even get the support of his own institution. So where he supposedly learned his skills from, they saying like, nah, this ain't, this is, not the way forward. But anyway, I digress. It's the Ask Mathis show. We just getting started. We got some folks, in studio right now that's talking about something, that's bigger than politics. We talking about folks that's been down, and that's just, been sitting, man. I was with some brothers the other day who's just getting out of the feds, and it was like they did not, a lot of things, bro, it's like culture shock. So to come after doing that particular time and tell people, bro, like, when you off the grid, you really off the grid. You're really off the grid, and you don't know, to what extent. Like you have a person that you speak to most often, and when a person's been in, I would say after the 3rd year, just trying to keep a lifeline, just trying to keep somebody. And man, it's like when you're talking to somebody on the phone, they start asking about people from your childhood. They're like, hi. I'm like, man, I don't know. I ain't seen. It's just because I guess whatever thoughts they coming to mind. They're like, hey, buddy, he's still over there. I'm like, bro, I don't. I can't tell you, man. Jing-a-ling, he's still there, man. He taking it. You know what I mean? You come and show up with $1, man. You do it like,
Facts.
bro, I can't. I don't know, man. So Teddy, you do the honors, good brother.
No, we got some brothers in the building representing Guns Up, Mics Up, Guns Down. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people and let them know what's going on.
Yes, how you doing? Thank you, brother. Thank you, Brother Mathis, from having me here. I'm Elijah G, and I'm a representative of Mics Up, Guns Down, a street organization that is, geared to helping youth through music, poetry, and and art, and also through emotional intelligence. And I'm representing Mics Up, Guns Down. But I'm glad to be here.
Welcome, brother. Glad to have you here. We've had other organizations on. We had Bikes Up, Guns Down back in the day. Had Circle of Brotherhood. We've had. So it seems like there are organizations that. What distinguishes Mics Up, Guns Down from the other ones that you're doing it from an entertainment perspective so much, or arts, or is it, do you tell us?
Yes, sir. It comes from a perspective of, first of all, I was in prison 36 years, 5 months, and I was a young man at 17.
You only look 36. You look 36.
Brother,
you went in from the cradle? They're like, we know you gonna be a bad one, man. Go lock him up.
I ain't coming from anybody that I ever seen come out of prison that time. They look good. Like, it's like they skin, the air conditioning there is incredible, man.
Yeah, you know what? And that's one. And I'm glad you said it, Teddy. I didn't want to say it, man, but I was like, bruh, if we could discover whatever it is, whether it's the nutrition, whether it's the weight set, whatever it is they got going, the books, the library, like whatever they have on the inside, if we could have that on the outside before the need for it.
Skincare be all good.
Yeah,
Bruh, he coming out, man, no blemishes. He coming out like, what's up? You know what? I might go out. Don't be mad at me if I go out and patent and trademark, you know what I mean? Call it like, penitentiary or locked up lotion. Locked up lotion or something like that. Boy, you somebody, and the commercial, you know what I'm saying? Hey, boy, he look familiar. That ain't Lonnie, is it? Lonnie will be about 60 right now. And he come in there, boy, is that Lonnie? That's Lonnie. Boy, Lonnie, what you been doing? Man, I've been on that locked up lotion, dog. I've been on that locked up lotion, boy. Goulash packets. Bruh, so 36 years, good brother. That's and that calmness. Like that calmness that I see. I'm starting to notice common denominators. Folks are calm. Folks tend to think before they speak and do all those things where I bet you wasn't like that 36 years ago.
No, sir. I wasn't like that 36 years ago. Being, 16, 17, growing up in New York, I was always conscious of the struggle with our people. So I got exposed to Islam, from that perspective at a very early age. However, it wasn't until I went to prison and, it came into
that's like 88,
the Nation of Islam, that I really, got the proper understanding, the discipline and the training that, the nation, give brothers. But Mike's Up Guns Down was born out of the spirit of freedom.
Yes.
And I give shouts out to brothers that founded the nation, National Lifers of America Incorporated, because that's an organization that gave birth to Mike's Up Guns Down. Because
Yes.
we reach out, and this organization was founded in 1980 by guys that was doing life, who wanted the way out but couldn't, because of society and the court system had, as it still do today, overcharging, over sentence black men. So, but these brothers had hope. They fought, they litigated, and they gave birth to a grassroots organization that is called the National Lifers of America Incorporated. And I was, been a member of that organization for quite some time.
So were you initially sentenced to more time, like life, and then were you able to come back on appeal, or what was your original sentence?
My original sentence was life plus 20 to 60. So due to Miller versus Alabama, in 2012, the United States Supreme Court said it is unconstitutional.
So you were a juvenile at a time,
Yes,
and the
I was a
person didn't die.
Yeah, yes.
Right.
So in just recent, rulings on People versus Stovall in Michigan, which overturned my life sentence, and I was resentenced, and I had 50 years in with my good time.
Yes.
50 years. So
I was in
allowed
court
me to be released.
I was in court last week, and there was a brother like with the exact same sentence, and he had just come out, and he had just done 30. I think he had done about 37 years, and like you said, in 2012, I think he was at a certain mark when the decision, came out, and it's crazy when you talk about full circle. Here in Florida, it was Judge Schlesinger, who was a former U.S. attorney married to Judge Millian from the People's Court. And when he came over to state court as a judge, I remember a trial. We talk about it sometimes. It was a trial where it was a juvenile, and there were two individuals that got shot in the back of the head. And in that particular trial, it was like the facts were not really on his side so much, because both guys survived and came to court and came to trial. And we was in the trial. Remember I tell you the story when in the deposition, the guy says like, I don't believe, let's call him Jelly for purposes of this. Man, I do not believe Jelly shot me.
Okay.
Right? So that's what he said. So in the trial, I got his transcript, and I said, as you said right here, I do not believe Jelly shot me. And Buddy from the stand looked in there. He was like, Jelly, why you shot me? He was like, Jelly, why you shot me? And when he said that, my head just kind of went down. And this is one of those cases where I had a great defense for him, but you cannot do it for that person. Like, that person has to, is their right. And I said, bruh, you was a jit and you selling drugs for these two guys in their 30s that you selling drugs for. And you had a rough upbringing. And the fact that you had been, skimming bread from them, and the bread kept coming up missing and kept coming up short. When they came for you, you thought they was coming for you. So you got in the car with them, and as they're driving now, they claim they going to the strip club to reward you. But you in the back knowing what you've done, you like, man, they about to get rid of me, so I'm going to hit them before they hit me. So bam. It was a 22, so it wasn't anything crazy, but it survived. And fast forward, even though he did not allow me just to come in there with that particular defense and just be like, these guys, this what was going on. You was fearful. You thought they was going to do that. His thing was he wasn't there. He don't know what they talking about. He was never there. And if that's the defense that, a person want to go with, you gotta let him go with it. So we went the way he wanted to go, and the jury came back on a lesser. Even though the jury came back on a lesser, Schlesinger sentenced the boy to life. Mm-hmm. And like you said, no one died, and he was a part of that United States Supreme Court. So when you talk about over sentencing, and especially with our youth and our juvenile, man, it's like, come on, bro, you sentence a kid to life and nobody's dead. And that's what the Supreme Court basically said, which apparently helped you and other people, where if you was a juvenile and the person's not dead, you should not be able to sentence them to life. And that's not a state of the law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we got my brother Sean French in the building. Sean has a great, unique story coming up where he come from, but just doing 25 years and then coming out to become a professor at Michigan State is where he works at now. He's a professor at Michigan State after doing 25 years, but already having a great life. To me, that was the reward for him, you know what I'm saying, to be able to come out. So I'm going to let Sean introduce himself and talk about what he got going on and his contribution from Mike's Up, Guns Down. Can you hear us, Sean?
Well, hello. Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
All right. I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you guys, but that's all right. I'll get that fixed in just a bit. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Okay. Yeah, so just give us a brief history about who you are and what you got going on with Mike's Up, Guns Down.
And just your camera, cause
okay.
Yeah, just your camera, too,
yes.
We need to be able to look to see you.
Yeah, right there, right there.
There you go.
You can't see me.
Yeah, right there. Stay right there and talk.
You got me now?
Yeah, you're there. That's it.
Okay. I'm in the studio right now as we speak, and I had a couple sessions and they ran over. But yeah, I spent 24 years in prison myself. And during the course of that time, I had did some self-reflection and started to dig into a particular science, metaphysics and epigenetics. And between those two sciences, I was able to not only discover a way of properly healing myself, but create a curriculum that could assist others in making the same shift in their life. I published a book while I was in prison, Rehabilitation in Prison, Volume 1, A Secular Approach. on Amazon right now. And that book is dealing with motivational interviewing, which I found to be the easiest approach to introducing individuals to real change that comes from the subconscious mind, and then introducing them into metaphysics and epigenetics. Throughout the course of the tenure of my 24 years in prison, I've facilitated hundreds of courses, seminars, workshops, and just spent a lot of time trying to cultivate other lives. Upon my release, which I've been out for slightly over a year. My anniversary date was on the October 17th. I got out of prison October 17th, 2023. And in the course of that time, I started working with nonprofit organizations, National Lifers of America Incorporated, which led me to developing Mike's Up, Guns Down. Here in Lansing, Michigan, where I'm at, we have a growing epidemic of youth and gun violence. And so I just really started to dig off into that and said, okay, let me get into these communities and work with the young men that are dealing with the survival mode and the forms of oppression and subjugation that Lansing has the underprivileged children trapped in. The best way to do that is to attract them through music. I'm a producer myself, so I said, okay, hey, let's go with Mike's Up, Guns Down. Let's get these individuals into the recording studio. Let's teach them everything about the industry. Therefore, they have options. They don't have to just be a rapper. I can show them how they can make millions of dollars producing, millions of dollars engineering, mastering, mixing, lyricists. The list goes on. So yeah, we work with them and train them by first teaching them every aspect of the music industry, and then start cultivating particular talents and gifts that I see in the young men, and just really help them reach their dreams and their potential. In the course of developing that organization, Michigan State, I took a shot. I saw a job posting, and in that posting it said, looking for individual with doctorate degree who would like to work in the criminal justice with gun violence prevention. I don't have a doctorate degree, but I felt with everything that I got going on, why not give it a shot? And so I put my application in, and I can't believe 6 weeks later, I was hired by Michigan State University. The very first person in the state of Michigan to have ever been hired into a university with a felon while still on parole. So yeah, it was a major thing. I'm an academic researcher now for Michigan State University on gun violence prevention. I would love to be able to see other men that I have opened up a door, and that universities, state of Michigan and nationwide, will now start looking at us and saying, hey, the past is the past. What are we looking at in the individual right now? Is this individual capable and trained enough to be able to do what the job consists of, or to be able to come into a university and to teach or to expand the search for being inclusive, which I believe a lot of universities now. S.Dot Leadership Building Academy and our production company, and this is all within a year. So, I'd love to be that story for other people, where you can say to yourself, it can be done. Dreams are possible if you put.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, brother. So we having some issues. You coming in and out. The last thing we said after hearing your story was that, you've done all this within a year, and that is possible.
Yes.
So if you don't mind, we can stop you. I have a few questions. When you say, trying to solve this from a metaphysical perspective, explain.
Okay, so when I look at metaphysics and first approaching it, it seemed almost unbelievable in what it was trying to convey. what we're dealing is aligning the subconscious mind with the conscious mind in faith and belief, but from a point in which it's more realistically understood. In other words, if I do set my foot forward to do a particular thing, how much of that is actually done from the physical me? And I started discovering that, well, not much of it is done from my physical work or my own hands. It is all being done in my thought process. And so then I started to dig off into the thought process, trying to unravel why certain things were not happening or were not coming to me, and where I had failed myself in flawed thinking. And that is really the science of metaphysics, is unraveling your flawed thoughts and removing anything that contradicts the thought in which you want to manifest. So I had to figure out, how do I stop all these contradictions, these self-contradictions? And that's where motivational interviewing came into play, as well as epigenetics, because epigenetics deals with the environment or the outer effects of one's genome code.
So give an example either. So give an example either for yourself or for the individuals in Lansing that you were saying. You know, some of the young men who are struggling. Like, what are some of the things that they're struggling with, and how does your approach assist in getting them, you know, out of that cycle?
Yes. So this is where I believe most people are struggling. Most people, especially here in Lansing, and I would imagine it is the same across the state, across the nation, they're struggling with survival. They're in a survival mode. When you're in survival mode, you're not consciously aware of what your thoughts are. You're not thinking about what you're thinking about, because you're only trying to survive the moment, the day, the week, the month. And that is where the destruction happens, because you're not allowed to be free to start to create things that will not only heal yourself, but your environment and your family. My system is to help individuals remove the distractions and to lift themselves up out of the survival mode and move them into a creative mode. Because when we can get you into the creative mode, where the only things you see are the thoughts that are coming to you from the divine area, then these things can begin to cultivate an entirely different personality. Joe Dispenza has a book out that's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And that's kind of what I deal with now. I go into these arenas with a science that is to teach them how to break the habit of being yourself, because the habit that you are in is destructive. And it will not allow you to manifest the desires of your heart, because your subconscious mind and your conscious mind are not aligned as one. And if anybody out there reads the Bible, studies the Bible, says, where two or more are gathered in my name, I am in the midst. That subconscious mind and the conscious mind are the two that he's speaking of. These two have to be perfectly aligned with themselves in order to be perfectly aligned with the universal laws, with the universal thoughts, with the universal gifts. And those things cannot manifest if your self is in division. If you are divided among yourself, a house divided will never stand. You are the house that the Word of God was speaking about. The division is between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. And if there is a division between those two, your house will collapse.
Amen.
So my system helps to teach individuals how not to be divided within self. How to bring your conscious mind and your subconscious mind together as one, perfectly aligned.
Yep. So I just want to say what you guys have brought together now for the spring, with doing the Mics Up Guns Down tour with the HBCUs and working with Baghdaddy, aka
Yes.
Novocaine. Just give us that, because we got to move on to a couple other things. So just wrap up with that and give everybody the information to get in touch with you guys.
Okay. So yes, you can reach me at Sean French 7468 at gmail.com. That's SEANFRENCH 7468 at gmail.com. And or you can go to Mike's Up Guns Down now is looking to move into an entirely different arena for the Midwest, which is the HBCU campus tours. We are putting together an amazing collection of artists to take on tour for the spring and hopefully the fall as well. We are getting ready to just power pack this and make sure that we have a show that people will remember when we get down there. It is time for the South to recognize and see that the Midwest is laying like that. So, yeah, I have a team of artists that I am working with and bringing on board, and we're producing every day, song after song, and getting ready for this tour, bringing in a lot of sponsors. And yeah, I think this is going to be a really big thing. Mike's Up Guns Down has the opportunity now to start speaking that message to the HBCU campuses to let everybody know that this is a movement. It's not just an organization. It's not just a nonprofit business. It is an actual movement. We are literally involved and dedicated to reducing, one, the black on black crime, but two, all crimes that are related to using a gun.
That's it. We appreciate you guys being here.
Sir.
And what's the song that your father made?
Oh yes, my father, rock the boat, rock the boat,
baby. Hey,
That's a jam. That's a jam.
So yeah,
Take me to you.
that's right.
Rock me, baby.
That's
Yay.
That's it.
Hey, that's what's up. We love music around here, man. Appreciate you, Brother French, man. And we got your colleague here in studio, so we're gonna keep him around if you don't mind. And that's what it is, man. This brother right here has overcome the struggle, 25 down, and now, took that, no excuses, is working at Michigan State University, brother. We're so proud of you, and good luck in everything you're doing. I look forward to meeting you in person. All right. So, man, that's what's up. And when you talk about, we talk about it here, but it's another thing when you have someone that's actually done the days, the seconds, the minutes, the hours, the days, the weeks, the years. It's surreal, because I can only imagine, over a game of spades or, something. And, on the movies, they always say, man, what you in for? And according to Brother French, if you just breathe sometimes, like if a brother just thought about it or reflected before he made one of those moves, he may have, been in a different situation.
Reality.
Mm-hmm. Is that accurate?
Yes,
or?
There was a scientist by the name of Dr. Lawrence Steinberg who devoted his study to brain development. And he discovered through extensive research that the brain is not fully developed until the age of 26. So a 13, 14, 15-year-old, when you're making decisions, you're not understanding the consequences. You don't understand consequences. And if you did, then the choice would be much different. And now that's not saying that all 14, 15-year-old would make the same decisions,
right?
Because they won't. However, I was one of those 17-year-olds who made that decision. So when I look at these young brothers today, and they don't understand the subconscious and the conscious mind on the oneness to make the right decision to propel them towards freedom, then I feel obligated to pull that young man to some level of consciousness. So yes, that decision is very important, brother. And you don't realize if you can go back 36 years, 5 months ago,
right,
that moment, getting in that car that day, what you would do.
And I'm gonna give you another anecdote, man. Real situation. I'm in trial probably 20 years ago, probably more than that, maybe 25 years ago. And it was a young man, 15 years old at the time of the offense. You know, he and another individual decided, you know, to rob an individual down at Homestead. And the guy sees through his little restaurant. He had one of the little bodega, little restaurant. His fiance, he was 31 years old, no children. His fiance and his mother worked at the little restaurant. He sees through the window two dudes masking up. He sees them mask up, so he asks his people to go, you know, in the bathroom and lock the door and hide in the bathroom. And the young man eventually came over, and although he was providing his wallet and his watch, individual killed him anyway, shot him anyway. So Florida, as many other states, they have what's called felony murder. And what felony murder is that, if someone dies and you were in the course of committing a dangerous felony, robbery being one such designated, dangerous felony, and if somebody dies, you are responsible, you are charged with their murder. And it results from, had you gone in with this young man and the owner shot your homie, you would be charged with your homie's murder, right? So in this particular case, the guy who shot the owner took a plea to 20 years. And by the time I got the case, the guy was maybe 18, 19 by the time the case finally went to trial. And they was making him the same offer. They was making him a 20-year offer. And he was basically like, he wasn't taking it because he ain't killed nobody, right? He was like, I ain't taking it, I ain't killed nobody. And the state just would not come off those 20 years. And I just remember trying to convince him of the law and explain the law to him. I said, brother, understand in the state of Florida, if you get convicted of this offense, you can only get life in prison or death. There's only two, if you're convicted, only two sentences, life or death, right? So I said, brother, at 15 years old, because he'd been, sitting for a few years. I said, bro, at 15 years old, you know how many lifetimes you're going to see pass you by. And your homie, that's when you really going to feel it. When your homie who actually killed the person gets out after those, 20 years, and you still riding. That's when I can only imagine what that's gonna feel like. And we go on the trial, and we go on the trial. They brought his mother. His mother takes the stand, and the mother testifies that the detective set up a control call with the mom, when he was down at the station. So he's telling his mom, and she's testifying to this, that he, mama, we just went down there to rob him. I ain't want nobody to die. So after his mom gets off the stand, I just remember looking at him, and because his mom was in there, she loved him, and she was blaming herself for he was not being supervised. He was out doing grown man stuff. And so she was feeling bad that she wasn't a really great mom, but she loved him. And when the mom got off the stand, I looked at him and I said, bro, is your mom lying? He's like, yes, sir, she's lying. And then I said, well, do you think those 12 people over there think your mom is lying? And when I said that, it was like a light bulb just went off in his head. And it wasn't until that point where I said, well, do you think those 12 people think your mom's lying right now? Then he said, is the police still available? So we in the trial, the state had flown on Con Air, private plane, they had flown in a witness. You know, we didn't think they was going to be able to get this witness. They flew this witness in from prison to come in there and testify against him. So I knew the state had gone to, you know, exorbitant expense that they don't typically do. And to his credit, and I say his name, you know, because he, you know, most prosecutors, you know, would not have done that. And I wrote him a note. I sent him a letter. I said, man, this young man wants to take the plea. And he looked at me, and he was just like, you know, I got to talk to the victims. So I asked to go sidebar, you know, to the judge and be like, hey, you know, he wants to take the plea. The judge is like, he wasn't stopping the trial. Like, we got, you know, we already in it. We, you know, we 5 days in this, man. We not stopping nothing. So we went all the way to lunch. You know, we went all the way to lunch, and then at the lunch break, you know, the prosecutor's like, let me speak to the next of kin who was there. And he spoke to the next of kin, and then he came back, and it was basically like, you know, they just want to have a moment with him. They had some questions for him, like, would you allow that to happen? I was like, you know, yeah. So we arranged, they came in there, had the question, and then it was just like, they approved him taking the 20. And like I said, that was over 20 years ago. The man, you know, he's been home. Hopefully he's been home if he's still alive and whatever. But, you know, just imagine had he not, or that had been someone else there, brother, he'd be so sick right now that he's still riding when he need to be riding.
Unfortunately, you see a lot of cases like that in prison. That felony murder is something in Michigan that we're challenging through the courts, and it is about to be heard by the Michigan Supreme Court, you know, any day now. So because there's guys, right, that was never the shooters. They in 30, 40 years, and the shooters are actually out.
They out.
So that felony murder it's not just, and it's one of them issues that we definitely is constantly fighting.
Absolutely, man. So this whole notion, man, of just, you know, criminal justice reform and things of that nature, man, and it's like the best, I would say the best of our brothers, our frontline brothers, are the brothers like yourselves who gone through the system, that's been there, that understand, and you can go and connect, you know, with these, you know, young brothers and be like, bro, I was there, and I know how you feel about certain things, man, but when them bars close, like it's very real. Like, it's very, very real. You know, your manhood could be taken, you know, your life can be taken. You know, it's a lot of, you know, you out here protecting this lady, whatever. How long on average do you feel that whatever lady you left is going to be loyal? On average, a month, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20. Come on. You know, so you out here making, you know, penitentiary chances, taking penitentiary risks for somebody who done moved on. Bro. Mm-hmm. Moved on. So we need the brothers, you know, who've been through it to identify and say, bro, you got the symptoms. I'm familiar with those symptoms because it's what I had. You know, you feel like your pocket's light. You feel like somebody done tried you. You feel like, you know, your boys, your crew done got into it with somebody else. And now, you know, you here to, you know, show that you know, you with the crew and all these things, man. Like you said, before the age of 26, you're not understanding, you're not seeing beyond. And then when you factor in these pills that these kids on right now, bro, and the multiple pills that they on, you know, the average, when we had a huge Flocka crisis, you know, mostly in North Broward, when Flocka was huge, man. Some of the correction people that I know was telling me, man, when somebody come in and Flocka's involved or they on Flocka, bro, he's like, on average, it's 7 days before they even know where they are.
Wow.
Like 7 days, bro. Like the withdrawal is so, you know, if you've seen that, you familiar?
Yeah, yes, sir. You see detoxing and them giving them certain opioids to take them through, you know, that, you know, relapsing and, you know, when especially heroin, you know, fentanyl and heroin, you see a lot of them individuals come through and they look real bad, bro. And then after that, the mentality of the behavior, it continues. So they may not be using the substance as much, but that behavior from the substance, it continues, and it leads a lot of them to, you know, get murdered. You know, when I went to prison, my first day on the yard, I seen a man get his life taken. And so I've seen a few of my guys who was my age who went through Riverside, which is the young man, the youth camp, to go to prison. A lot of them didn't make it. And you know, I often tell this to these young guys out here.
Yeah, they still wilding in the youth camps. I got some guys. I had some kids in juvenile, and that's what, you know, when they come in and you talk to them or whatever, they tell you that the worst part of their bid. Because I had a guy who another juvenile, man. This, when I tell you, bro, the first time I met him, this probably had to be, because he did 13. When I met him, bro, you could see, you don't want to say it was a sign of the devil, but, bro, you could see, bro, it was nothing good coming from his direction. He was 15 at the time. He had been involved in 3 shootings at the time. You know, one lady paralyzed, and she was Latino, so you knew they had him. And when he came in, they just called it a spree, because it was different elements. Like one, they say he shot the lady in the morning on her way to work on her front door, you know, on robbery tip. And then on another case, you know, before they linked him to all the cases, on another case, you know, he was over in, I guess, what they would call today the ops, you know, area, and to talk to a girl or whatever. And then when the cats come on over there talking like, oh, boy, you know you ain't supposed to be around here, he pulled out and bam, shot one of the kids in the back, you know, over there. And when he came, bruh, you know, he was just, you know, he just, it was sick. It was sad, right?
It's never gonna stop. If you see now, if a kid gets shot 10 to 20 times, he cannot have no views like that on YouTube. Let him get shot 15 times and live, go viral. So that's the trend now. A person get out of prison, that's the trend, and it's only going to increase because the world follows violence.
Right. So just to finish this story with the young man, right? So the young man comes, he gets out maybe a year or two ago, and he contacts me, and he's like, man, you know, I changed my whole life. Because the plea that we ended up getting was, I think it was like 15 years, and I think he ended up serving, I think he said about 12 and some change. And because he was a juvenile, he first went to one of these, you know, youth camps before he landed at the prison that he ended up with. So while he was in there, at some point, he changed. because he was just so mean, bro. He was just so mean. He changed. And when he contacted me, he was like, man, look, I'm doing all these things. I got my CDLs. You know, I'm driving trucks with my fiance. You know, can you get me off probation, termination? Because he had 12 years followed by 10 probation. And we came in and, you know, had no issues. You became a poet, man. This dude, he wrote a letter, bruh, that was so moving. He wrote a letter that was so moving that, you know, as part of my motion, I attached his letter as an exhibit. And when we got to court, the judge read his letter and just, you know, we was hoping he would get administrative. Man, judge terminated his probation, was in there. But one thing, he came in, bro, he ended up he had a scar across his face, which he did not have when I first met him, you know, when he was juvenile. And he said, those youth camps are hell on earth, bro. Because they're in there, like, scrapping for survival. It's like, man, once they get to the main yard with you know, guys that's doing life and other long bids, and they see, man, you ain't the baddest, you ain't the toughest around here.
Order is established.
Yeah. And he was just like, man, that's when I finally, because he was like, bro, when the youth camp, I was still wilding. He said it took him about a year or so to adjust when he finally got to his and realized, man, I'm gonna be here for a while, and I'm not gonna survive if I leave here the same way that I came here. And to his credit, man, you know, he's doing well. And I just, you know, glad you guys are here, because if you can catch some of these brothers on the front end, bruh, versus, you know, these tragedies where, you know, good minds, good people, man, you know, our mothers, our sisters, our children, man, need our fathers around in their lives. And we just saw a story where people were saying that, you know, black men were the worst fathers. The study just came out. Black men are the best fathers. Black men who are in the lives of their children are the best fathers, bro.
Yes, sir. And you know, it like 58% of the households that are single black mothers are raising black boys whose fathers are imprisoned. And you know, research supports that these little boys are
follow the dad lead.
68% at risk of going to prison. So what we have to do, and what Mike's Up Guns Down, what we do is we permeate and penetrate these little youngsters. It's hard to catch a young man when he's 12 and 13, because his mind now has already been set in a way that he's going to perceive and evaluate things. Catch them younger than that, it's more easier, because they're young and they're impressionable, and you can shape and guide. However, if we catch them at 20, it's time. It's never too late, but it's harder. So with Mike's Up Guns Down, what our program do, we focus on penetrating something that could get into his mind, that could get him to understand that this decision, this life that you're living, it is inevitably going to bring you here. And just look at my life. Look at my life story. And we use ourselves as an example, because young men today, they pretty much don't respect you if you haven't been through what you're telling them about. And this is why we were able to, you know, deal with professors of criminology and psychologists. They come into the prison and they learn from us on how to permeate.
Right. How to interact with the kids,
because
and
it's not
it works.
knowledge, it's about experience and how you're going to convey that to the people that are disenfranchised and impoverished.
No, that's what it is, man. We appreciate you being here, man. And while we got some time, we're gonna let you breathe, but feel free to chime in however you are. So Rudy Giuliani, you know, they hit him for $100 million. They hit him for $100 million. The mom and her daughter, the mother and the daughter, two poll workers, you know, working, just doing their job. And if any of y'all have voted, you know, like I voted yesterday, and you know, at my precinct, which is I would say 90%, Caucasian, at my precinct, but the folks that's working the precinct, I would say, in that particular one, it's probably 75% black. That's working the precinct. So I think that's pretty much how it is probably around the country, except for rural areas, that the folks who actually volunteer or get these, poll workers are black women, who are there, and they, getting berated and harassed. And this, mom and daughter, man, got awarded 150 M's of Rudy Giuliani. So he got 7 days to turn over the keys to the New York pad. He got 7 days. He got 7 days to turn over the keys to the New York pad. All his watches. He got like 12 luxury watches, and all his and he got some memorabilia. Some expensive, valuable memorabilia. So it seems like they hopefully they got the lawyer that Ron Goldman had against OJ, to just make old Rudy's life just a living hell. And his daughter has come out. She mad because it was like, Dad did all this for Trump, and Trump won't come pay. Trump won't come pay none of his. He won't pay none of his bills. He won't pay none of his bills, and he did it for him. So Rudy, man, anybody gonna cry for Rudy? Anybody feel bad for Rudy?
Persecution, man.
Okay, we heard it from Novocaine. Novocaine let you know. Team Rudy right here from Novocaine. So here we go. Miami Beach restaurateur held in alleged cocaine distribution ring led by the ex-Olympian. Have they found the Olympian yet, man?
No.
Will he be caught?
He's gone.
Ryan Ready?
He done cut his, changed his.
Right, hey.
He's just looking everything.
Has he made it to Bali?
What is it? He's a paddler. He was a paddler in the Olympics, so he can do anything.
Bruh, has he made it to Bali yet?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, where you think he is,
He's
bruh?
over there with the rest of them.
Somewhere where America can't get him.
Hey, yeah, see if he make it to Bali. So, man, bruh, and they on there like, and he's responsible for 4 deaths.
Yeah,
that you know of. that you know of, because if he running it like y'all say he running it, it's probably a lot more bodies on here. Now this dude right here, this some straight. This some dope. This dope.
Wow.
This is dope.
Yeah.
This is dope.
He's just hanging out.
What dope is he on, Teddy?
I have no idea.
That's what we need you to identify. What dope makes you go hit the local cell phone store a block away from your crib? Cause that's them showing up at his crib a block away.
Right.
a block away, and is that the detox where he's like, man, what happened? What did I just do?
What's going on?
Man,
he was over there in his sock. Look at him. He just came out the house.
He was going to smash it, bro. He looking for the cash.
He just want to.
But then he had that stomach like that might be, that might be that Budweiser, perhaps Blue Ribbon, about 50 of them.
Like, look, he's in there in his little.
He's just like, hey, can I? Is it some pizza that I ordered? It's the Uber Eats. Y'all not Uber Eats. Like, bro, do you know where you coming from? Oh man, so here we go right here. So this is crazy, man. I don't know if you can play this one, man. So Texas, who's now in the SEC, they come in there, and I guess, they went from the school of Pompano Beach, Blanche Ely High School, where do not win the game at our home field, because if you win the game, your bus will be rocked. So it seems like Texas was about that life too.
Yeah.
So you come in there, you beat Georgia, came in there and beat Texas, and look what happens. The fans start throwing stuff.
Why? But why are they doing
They
that?
started doing stuff. It was a bad play.
Yeah, they was
Yeah,
dissatisfied with the call.
And they just got fined $250,000.
For the people.
$250,000
They got rolled.
for that. So,
I think LSU just got fined $250. That's like the standard.
oh, that's the standard now.
For them storming after the.
Oh yeah, taking the goals and the goalposts and whatnot.
Because I'm blind. Y'all having conversations, and this is not fair at all.
So University of Texas, was ranked number one. They're now in the SEC, and them Georgia Bulldogs came to town, and they left with the victory. But prior to doing that, there was a call on the field that the fans did not agree with, and so they just started throwing stuff on the stand.
So they got fined for what the fans did?
Yeah, man. Yep. Quarter milli, a milli. So